Hey folks, thanks again for checking out all that extra footage, the high-speed stuff, so much mundane sanding and all that kind of detailing that, again, just that's the best way for me to put it for you is all that high speed. So you could see what the work gets to be done, but at the same time, you got to make it a little entertaining. What can I say? We've got to get some pickup cavities routed, and again, still doing this handheld power tool, so that's what we're going to do. Now here's what we've got though. We've got this crazy system that we're going to be doing. We've got the Seymour blackouts, Seymour Duncan blackouts going in this baby, and yeah, they're sweet. Those are going to be active, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff going in with the pots, but aside from all that, we've got battery terminals and a little preamp that. So we've got that going on. I sent a message out to him because there's I could do this with 2 pots, 3 pots, or 4 pots. So because we've got the preamp itself actually has tone controls in it. It's a concentric unit, and it also will let the pickups be converted. What's the word I'm looking for? This is why I don't do live footage a lot. And even with my voiceovers, I'm still stumbling on words. That's just the way I am. But yeah, that's what it allows you to switch back and forth a little bit at a time. So it's like a blender knob. That's the word, blender knob. Thank you for all of those who already put that in the comments. But anyway, yeah, so what can I say? I get up too early and I work too hard and my brain gets fried. By the time I get to the afternoon, which we are here, you can tell because I'm wearing short sleeves because it's warm, because it's Southern California and it's like 70 degrees in February. Ha, 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 ha. So anyway, so I've got a message out to him because even though we did the mock-up and, by the time we get all the goodies here, I just want to make sure before I go drilling holes. I think that's a good idea. I don't know. So we could go any different situation with that. Obviously, we're going to need the pot for the preamp, so we got that one, and then we're going to need a pot for volume. So got that. So it's just a matter of, I'm pretty sure he wants a volume control for each pickup, even though we've got the concentric on the preamp, which also has a tone. And he may want an extra tone knob, so we may want extra control for that. I don't know. That's why I sent him a message, and that's the way we do it here. In the meantime, I do know he wants 2 pickups, and we've got to get some cavities for that. So already went over the exact layout with him where he wanted them. Sent that picture. We got that. So this one is going to be pretty much right at the same angle as the neck, as the fretboard comes off. And this one, instead of making it as drastic as the bridge is going to be, because the bridge themselves are going to be pretty drastic angle, we kind of did a blend. So somewhere in the middle between this angle and that angle. So I am going to set these up. I'll tell you, we'll walk you through live action how I'm going to do it, and then of course by the time I turn the router on, we'll go into hyperlace, because again, it's it's a good hour and a half, 3 hours worth of material. Not going to be able to do that live, and who wants to watch a router bit go live anyway? I mean, I got to do it, but that's who I am. So let's get a camera a little closer, and I'll show you how I'm going to measure these out, because even though these are angled right, I'm pretty sure they're not line center, and being angled anyway, center is a whole questionable avenue here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now we know with the 5-string, that smack dab in the middle is going to be that 3rd string. So let's get center on this again. All right, and now we've got the other strings that are going to come off at about 15 millimeters apart. So yeah, so at the bridge, they're going to be about 15 millimeters apart. So I'm just going to draw 15 millimeters along the way here. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to use a set of just good old-fashioned type rulers. And I like to go with metrics for this because I can get a lot tighter. Okay. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again. All right. And now we've got the other strings that are going to come off at about 15 millimeters apart. And I think I've got them, actually I've just divided this by 5. It's not necessarily the 15 millimeters. Let's get this puppy in here. So yeah, so at the bridge they're going to be about 15 millimeters apart. So I'm just going to draw 15 millimeters, but this will give us lines for a reason, because what I basically want to get done here is I want a grid of sorts, because on my template or my pickups, basically I've got center lines. Well, we're not putting them according to center. We're doing them a little goofier than that. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, and you could already see by the outline that I drew where I had the pickup, that is off. So I'm just going to delete these parts. These outside lines, this one and that one, are correct. We're going to leave that. It's the end caps that are wrong. Okay. And here's what I mean. Now, if I'm going square and blocked, we know where center is. But the moment we tilt it, now center is getting goofed up. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to have these lines to give me a good reference point, because the measurement here to there and the measurement here to there should be the same. The same as here to there and here to there. Those should be the same. Same as this middle to this center of the template, the middle line here to the center of the template. Those should be the same lines. Then that tells me everything's centered in a cockeyed fashion. Does that make sense? Leave comments below. I am one to admit full-heartedly that I am a student too. So please tell me if you think there's a better way for me to be doing this. Now I got 15 there, and I got about 13 there. So let's bump it up to 14. And did we get 14 there? No. What am I doing? There we go. That's right about 14. That's right about 14. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it, put a little mark, and just make sure what I'm doing is correct. So I've got 14 there. And I've got 14 there. Now keep in mind, we are not painting this guitar. This is going to be wood. It's going to be stained, but so there's no patching. There's no Bondo going on here. This is going to be the real deal, so I don't want to mess it up. So this is why these things just take time. And if I was doing this on the CNC, it would be the same thing. I would be making my lines. I would be checking them, double checking them on a computer screen, no doubt, but I would be making sure that everything I'm doing is hunky-dory. Okay, so now I've got on that one 7. So I'm going to come up here and mark 7. And it should work. Okay, I think I'm going to draw that. As a matter of fact, I know I'm going to draw that. And then I'm going to look at it. Because remember, there's center and there's center according to your eyeballs. They aren't necessarily the same centers. I think that looks pretty good. You just goofed it, blew it though. There we go. How's that look? Ooh, that looks pretty good. Let's try to put the pickup in there. That is 2 centimeters. That's 2 centimeters. Perfect. I'm going to go for that. I'm standing by. All right, so in an effort to offer you more tips and tricks and educational type of stuff that we're doing here, just to show you some real-time footage. I've been getting a lot of requests for that, not just the high-speed stuff. I'm going to put this neck on and get that going for you. Now, again, and I apologize if anybody, feels that they're getting cheated out of information by me doing the high speed. I do that to put as much as we can in a short package so you don't have to sit and watch videos all day. And so this is my trick anyway. There's a lot of ways to do this, and I highly suggest if you're thinking about getting into guitar building and you're looking at doing something where you're actually doing this yourself versus a kit that may already have holes drilled. I'm going to show you what I do. And again, watch as many videos as you can. Different guys, everybody's got a different thing. Now, again, going back to the whole drill press issue, if you got a drill press that works really well, great. There's a lot of ways to do that. And I'll show you that too, real quickly. So if I was doing this on a drill press, what I would do is get this as fit as I can. And as much as I think it's in line, which is pretty good because I've already got this neck and pocket pretty tight. Okay, and then take a punch or even a screw and just dig yourself a nice little starter hole. Boom. Take that to the drill press, drill it in, whatever length that you need it to be. And, make sure you measure. Don't go through. Don't want to go through that fretboard. And then place it back on the body, insert your screws, and you're done. Now I'm going to show you a more barbaric way of doing things because that's just how I roll. So what I'm going to do is, again, line it up, get it in there really nice and snugly. And then I like using these little squeeze clamps. And I'm going to squeeze it once I get that right where I want it to be. I'm going to squeeze it. No matter how I squeeze this, no matter where I place it, it's going to be in the way of at least one of those holes. Don't worry about that. Okay, so it's on there. It's good to go. Now watch out for this thing. Don't let it poke you in the arm. Okay, now I'm good. As you can see, it's not going to sit very squarely. So now I like to just put it on the edge. But before I do that, I am going to put in the insert. Now, why am I putting in the insert? Because this drill bit is just the right size of the screws. It's actually just a teensy bit smaller, not much. And so I want it to go as straight down the middle of this as I can. Okay, and now that's what I'm going to do. Now I like to hold it like this because I feel like I could keep a 90 better than anything doing like that. If you want to work straight up and down, that's fine. But am I just going to drill and take a risk of drilling all the way through? No. What I've already done is I've sized it up, and then I put a little pink paint on there. Now some guys may want to use the tape trick, and that's fine too. If you've done that before or seen it, great. If not, Google it. Be careful. If you put tape trick CA, like you're looking for one in California, what you're actually going to get is a super glue trick that somebody else does with tape and super glue. All right, so here we go. Okay, now I go to where that little pink paint is. I'm going to drop that guy off. I'm done with him. I'm going to do this one. Okay, and there we go. Now this particular neck, if you notice, remember I did a little bevel there. So I've got actually two different sizes of screws. I've got 1.5 inch and then I've got 1 3/4 inch. So the 1.5 inch goes up front. And I'm going to put that little bushing back in there. And then the 1.5 goes in the back. And I'm going to put that in there. Okay, and then I'm just going to give it a couple turns just to hold it. I'm not mounting it yet. Okay, and that's it. Then release the clamp. Now I'm done with that, and I no longer have to worry about it being in my way. Now I'm going to repeat the process. I'll tell you, as you get older, it's hard to pick those things up. All right. And again, I like to hold it like this so I can see it. That out of the way. All right, get that out of the way. Get the sawdust out. All right. Just so you know, you can't see it on camera, but this headstock just barely, like that close touching the ceiling in my shop. And as you know, this is a tiny shop anyway, but come on, the beast. All right, so there we are on that. I'm going to just clean up these holes a little bit. I did notice a little, a little rip spot there. And now we're just gonna put these in to hold for a sec. Hey. Gravity, get back in there. Okay, there we go. And again, just make sure everything's all looking good, lined up. The beauty of bolt-on necks, and this is why a lot of us are preferring them nowadays, the beauty of a bolt-on neck is at any time you can make little adjustments here and there. For that reason, I try not to get it too tight. I try not to get as tight of a pocket as I want on a set neck. If I was gluing a set neck, the last thing I want is that much glue in between the woods. But with a bolt-on, I actually want a little room. This one's a little too tight, and I might just sand a little bit off as I get ready to do the finish on here. I'm going to be sanding a little bit anyway, so I'm going to sand that neck heel just a little bit to give it more wiggle room. But as it is, I can shift it. Again, on this one, I am going to be setting the bridge on that. I got to a point where I was all ready to do that and then realized I don't have the strings for this guitar. So I ordered the strings as soon as they get here. Then I'll be setting them because I am going to set it to spec with the strings. I did have kind of a pre-slotted nut, but I'm also going to do that myself, you know, with the nut slot ruler and bare graphite carbon fiber. Anyway, so I'll be getting that all going, getting that all set up, and going exact specific from the strings and just getting them going. I'm mumbling, I'm moving on. That's basically it. Now, I'm not totally bolting this on yet. If I was, I know we call them bolt on, but it's really screw on. If I was, I would make sure that I put a little wax, you know, maybe a little mineral oil, something on the screws to actually lubricate them so they don't just tear and burn into that wood. A lot of times you get so far, and you know, the way the screws are made nowadays, I don't care where you get them, they're cheap. They're not made the way they used to be. And so you want to make sure that you lube that thing before you go spinning it, especially if you're using a little tool. That's why I like using this cheap little thing. It doesn't have as much torque as this guy. This guy would definitely bust bolt heads off. This guy, not so much, but I've even done it with the handheld screwdriver if you don't do it right. And like I said, you just want to lube that up before you put that in there. You know, a little paste wax is perfect for that. Anyway, that's it. That's how I do that. I'm going to get back to getting the control cavity routed, everything else going on this guitar, and get it ready. I want to get it stained. I don't have to wait for the bridge pieces to do that, but I might anyway, just to make sure that I get everything lined up before I do all the staining. This thing's going to be beautiful. Just wait till you see what we're going to do with it. Actually, you don't have to wait. Just come on back. All right? Thanks a lot.